Ready or not, here I come now. Let's play hide and seek. Prepare to be caught. Here I come now. Let's play hide and seek. Riding on the playground, no more dance to make a sound. Round and round and round and round. No one wants to be first found.
To that lock. You can only look at it from the bottom.
To cut it off, it's very difficult to cut off.
Very difficult to cut off.
Yeah.
As they're going around this Connex container, they're making quite the ruckus now, right? When you serve a search warrant, you have to announce police department, search warrant. Funny side story. I got sent to training once.
Mm-hmm.
Got shot in the face. We've talked about this a little bit.
Well, explain what you got shot in the face with.
It was a blank round, but it was like from me to you. Totally like tore up my face. I was bleeding all over the place. It was a mess. It was some of the worst training I've ever been to. It was put on by a bunch of military dudes who'd gotten out of the military and decided that they were going to teach law enforcement tactics.
Mm.
And they were terrible. Like, it's the worst training I've ever been to. We had this old commander, just rusty old fart. It was awesome though. I loved working with him. Commander Blaine.
Yes.
He used to Captain Morgan us in the locker room all the time. He'd get out of the shower and he'd run around naked. So he'd have nothing on and he'd come up as you're getting dressed and he'd hike his leg up on like all of his twigs and berries just hanging out. And he'd be like, "Hello, Tiger, how's it going?" And you're like, "Commander, your penis is right there."
Oh, I thought he was always just such a nice man.
He was a nice man, but he used to Captain Morgan everybody in the locker room all the time. It was kind of a running joke. So I'm go to this training. I get shot in the face. They're teaching terrible tactics. And we call him. We're like, "Please let us come home. Someone's going to die here."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Tiger, sometimes the best thing you can learn about training is why you don't do it that way. You'll stay." I had to stay there for 2 weeks. It was terrible, terrible.
Where were you at?
It was in Idaho, Boise, Idaho. We were serving a search warrant, like a simulated search warrant was part of one of our exercises. And when our little team did this mock search warrant service, we knocked on the door, we announced police department, search warrant, blah, blah, blah. And then we rammed the door.
Does the military typically serve search warrants?
No. And we actually got critiqued heavily by the instructors about why would you announce that you're going to go through the front door before you go? That's the surefire way to get shot. And we're like, well, there's this law thing that we have to follow in the United States that we have to announce our presence for a search warrant. Point of my story is you have to understand at this point when I'm showing a picture now of them grinding on one of those locks on the container. You've got a bunch of cops that have been running around this property yelling search warrant, search warrant.
And they've made their presence known and
very
clear.
Can the prosecution learn from their mistakes? Of course they can. The question should be, will the prosecution learn from their mistakes? That remains to be seen, as it would seem to me they have adopted a pattern and have grown comfortable with being lazy with their conscience set to none. God help the innocent.